good to go? I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Madison Fire District on August 17th, 2022 to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Adams.
Here.
Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Mr. Donaldson.
Here.
Mr. Gauntner.
Mr. Gautner is at another meeting, Township Association meeting.
Mr. Lee.
Here.
Mr. Wayman.
Here.
Would you all please rise for pledge allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have the approval of the minutes from the July 20th meeting before us. What is the board's pleasure?
Yeah, that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Max. Any questions? Any deletions, additions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson.
Yes.
Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
They were made.
Thank you, Board. Next, I'll turn the meeting over to Madam Financial Director. She'll discuss bills and payroll.
Okay, this is our July bills. It's $57,498.96. Our payroll was $167,014.09 for a total of bills of $224,513.05.
What is the Board's pleasure with regard to bills and payroll?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve the bills and payroll.
Thank you, Mr. Wayman. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Any discussion or questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson.
Yes.
Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Moving on, Madam Financial Director, if you just present the July 2022 financial report.
I am reading off the fund summary. So we started July with $6,274,567.04. Our month-to-date revenue is $708,899.93. It's because we got our property tax advance of $650,000 in last month. Our year-to-date revenue is $3,157,645.94. Again, our month-to-date expenditures is $224,513.05. Our year-to-date expenditures is $1,824,821.99. And our ending balance that we started August with is $6,758,954.92.
Any questions by the Board? Thank you, Madam Financial Director. Moving on. Is there anyone out there in the Ethernet that wishes to address the Board?
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chief. Madam Legal Counsel?
Just as a way of an update, discussions continue to happen with opposing counsel on the CAS 307 matter. My understanding is that the chief and Mr. Anderson also had a meeting with Mr. DeBevick. All conversations have gone well to this point. I believe that we're all on the same page. I would anticipate that the next step would be the drafting of an agreed entry. That's my understanding of where things stand, but I still am waiting to see a draft of that document. So as soon as that's presented, then I will review it and, we will have some discussion about that.
Thank
Moving
you.
along though.
Very
Thank
well.
you, Ms. Dane. Any questions? Anything else, Ms. Dane?
No, that is it.
Thank you. Under old business, the status update of Station 2. Chief, is that you or someone else?
Sure. So there is still some paperwork processes going through
with Mr. Brown regarding prevailing wage. There was some correspondence again today, so we've delayed payment on the project until they have, I believe there's one vendor remaining that they need to provide adequate documentation for. The project is done. We did have a couple other things that we added just today to the punch list. There's a couple outlets that have failed that aren't working, so I talked to our construction management contact to deal with that. The pavement is completed. I know Ms. Dames got a resolution to make a modification. Prior to the pavement, we worked with the township and did some trenching through the parking lot so that the gutters didn't dump right back in front of in the driveway where the trucks come in and out. We thought it was an opportunity to put some underground drainage in. The township did an outstanding job and put that in. Because of our actions to put underground in and destroying the base that was there on the pavement, there was about an $800 increase to the total bill with Titan. But it's done. They did a beautiful job. The guys are living in the dorms, and we've started some of the renovations that the guys are going to do on duty to kind of clean up, fix up the kitchen, close up some hallways. We created a closet space for storage. Not big stuff, just little things that guys can tinker with on a day-to-day basis. But other than that,
Looking good.
finally,
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Chief. Moving on to new business. Resolution 22-18. Madam,
So resolution approving an adjustment to the paving contract entered into with Titan Asphalt and Paving, Inc. for the repaving project located at Station 2, Madison Fire District, 1743 Hubbard Road, Madison, increasing the total contract amount by $800 to a new contract sum of $49,548. This is before you because the original motion that was adopted at the June 25th meeting authorized execution of a contract in an amount not to exceed $48,748. So with that additional trenching work, it went up by $800 to $49,548.
okay. What's the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Max. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Wayman. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson?
yes.
Mr. Wayman?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Moving on, Chief's report.
Well, I see what I put into your folder. It doesn't look like everything carried over, so I'm sorry, I just had to find it again. It's been a busy week.
Yes.
I'll start with this quick overview, and then I'll fill you in on what's going on. So anniversaries, Lieutenant Van Kramer completed 34 years, Lieutenant Henry 23 years, and Inspector Salamosi 3 years. Joanne brought up the tax revenue. We're at 71% of our projection through through July. We're at 70% of our projection for EMS revenue through July, so our reimbursement per transport has increased. Obviously, our call volume has increased. And just kind of put things into perspective, I did do an account review with MedAccount. They came out here, we sat down, reviewed numbers. Our charges are about in line. We're a little low in some areas for our charges. But one of the things I wanted to bring up is it really doesn't matter what you charge. I know previous administrations have come in here and we raise rates and raise rates and raise rates. Insurance carriers and Medicare and Medicaid are going to pay what they pay. So I spoke to her, unless the board wants to make some kind of change. I don't think there's any reason to change any of our charges through the EMS billing. We're doing very well. Our increase is somewhat due to transports because one of the things that's added to the bill is mileage. So the loss of the Madison ER for the last 7 months means that now maybe we're taking somebody to Tri-Point as opposed to Madison, and that mileage is something that's not negotiable. Medicare doesn't negotiate that, they just pay mileage. So it looks really good on paper. The reality is some of that is based on situation, and as long as that ER is closed, we're probably gonna see a trend of an increase in reimbursements per trip because of mileage. Staffing is staffing. It's the summertime, people are on vacations. we've been fully staffed and we haven't had mandates or any issues with that. Call volume is still about 8% higher than last year, and if you remember, last year was a record year. Last year, we turned about almost 500 calls more than we ever have, and we're 8% higher than that.
Wow.
Fire inspections are ongoing. Vehicles have been, we need to get some new vehicles. We did get the squad back with the heads repaired. That was about a $10,000 repair. We just lost a tire on a fire truck after the fire at the Chemmaster. And prior to that, we had to replace batteries because it was short. 6 batteries in a fire truck's about $1,300. So there's been some unexpected repairs, but we're still within budget. Other than that, I have no real budget concerns. Joanne and I talked about reappropriation. My recommendation is we wait at least another month, potentially maybe even into October, to do reappropriation if we need to, because this has just been there's just been a lot of anomalies. And I think doing it once is smart. Trying to do it twice, trying to be early with it maybe will make us just do it again. And I'd be open for any questions about the chief's report, and then I'll be happy to fill you in on this.
Max?
Yeah, Chief, are we still doing unnecessary runs to the nursing homes? I don't know if that's the right way.
We still have a significant volume there. I've been in contact with them. I actually spoke, there's a regional protocol group that was initiated in Cuyahoga County, but it covers the region. About 2 weeks ago, I was one of the speakers at the regional protocol meeting, and one of the topics that's coming up is a no transport protocol. Something so that we're not taxing the public safety net. Right now, I've talked to the chief operating officer of the private service that's in the area, and they have the same problem that we do. There's nobody staffing is terrible. There are not enough people here to meet the service need. And they're contracted with hospitals, so one of the things that they focus on is hospital transports, which then leaves some of the skilled nursing facilities stuck. But I did have a meaningful meeting with UH, with the private service, and one of the things we're trying to work on is treating in place. Because what nobody understands is if it takes 8 hours to get a private to pick up the patient and you call us, we take them to the ER, it's now gonna take the ER 8 or 10 hours to get the same private to get them out. And oftentimes we're taking them in for non-acute items. So that's still a work in progress. The problem is that there's a lot of transient folks, so sometimes you repeat yourself. But that's an ongoing project.
Thank you.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Chief, what's the situation with the ER?
My last update from University Hospital is it continues to be a staffing issue. I'm not sure if the board is aware, University Hospital just closed Richmond Heights Hospital and Bedford Hospital.
Yep.
To date, they have shut down 7 freestanding ERs at 2 hospitals. And I can also tell you that just today, and going to one of the local hospitals, a patient ended up going to triage, and one of the comments that was made by staff is they don't have enough nurses to take care of all the beds. So there's a serious healthcare problem, and there's a serious nursing shortage. And I'm not sure it's bigger than me to solve it. What I'm trying to work on for Madison is what's best for specifically our skilled nursing home patients. If we can treat them and keep them there as opposed to treat them and take them to an ER, that's one of the things that I hope we learned from COVID is, we tried to avoid putting people in the hospital, and a lot of these things can be done or taken care of in-house. So it all kind of ties together. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Madison will ever reopen. I'm not sure whether they're ever going to tell us that, but I'm going to continue to ask until they just say, no, it's not going to open again.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Anyone else? Okay.
I can give you an update on Chemmaster.
Yes.
I sent everybody a picture of, Captain Sopko got that from the village police officer, I believe, who was there. We were called for a fire alarm off, and they were updated that it was a smoke detector in a server room. And I can tell you we get called to a lot of fire alarms off. And you know, they say that you shouldn't get too complacent, and this is one of those reasons why. I think Captain Sopko, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, he's on there, but I believe, they didn't see anything until they got to Edward Street, and they were waiting to turn into Edward Street, and that's when they noticed there was a problem. Credit to him and his staff, they got there and he quickly activated our mutual aid box alarm. I believe there were 15 departments. He dropped the first and second alarm. We also called for the county hazmat team. I know that we got beat up a lot. I don't get on social media anymore, but I know we got beat up a lot on social media. The hazmat team was called because they do store hazardous materials on site. It was not called because there was an actual hazardous material release. The potential was there for a big problem, so Captain Sopko made the decision to bring them in to provide some guidance. We also had plenty of fire departments there because we knew that there was a big fire with a lot of potential. So I credit him on making the calls. There was no evacuation that was done because, as I noted with you all, it didn't get into the manufacturing component. It didn't get into any of the hazardous materials. So there was no need, there was really no need to evacuate anybody. We did contact the EPA, who was on site most of the day yesterday. We had the hazmat team monitoring the night of the event. We had drones up to monitor, you know, to look for heat. The community of Madison and the residents were never at risk for any kind of contamination or hazardous release. And I would hope that I could reassure the public that if they needed to be, we would have let people know.
Right.
But because of the size and the dollar loss, Captain Sopko and I talked, and the state fire marshal came up, and we're gonna let them handle the investigation. The East End Fire Investigation Unit and Captain Sopko and guys from Madison were there supporting, but sometimes these big ones, it's best to let those guys who have a little more resources investigate. I will tell you personally, and Terry can speak up, I have a feeling based on the extent of the damage that this was gonna be undetermined. Captain Sopko, did I miss anything?
Nope, you covered it all. I just wanted to give our guys and mutual aid department, you know, did one hell of a job. We stopped, you know, it was a major incident, but we stopped an even major incident from happening. So I want to thank everybody that was involved.
Agreed, yeah, 15 departments. And the reason I sent you the picture that Terry sent me today, I thought you should look at it because what you see is essentially what burned.
Right.
They were able to save, you know, the adjacent building. It never got to the chemical, you know, they put water on the tank farm to make sure that they kept the tank farm cool. This thing had all the potential to be a game changer for the village of Madison. Like, it could have changed a lot of things. And one of the hard parts with firefighting is you're so instinctively wanting to put the fire out that sometimes you need to remember that you need to protect what's not burning. And this is an exact example of what wasn't burning was far more important than what did.
Right.
And we did let the fire burn for quite a while because Captain Sopko talked to the EPA, kind of gave a situation of what we had, and the decision was made, let it burn, because the problem with putting more and more water on it is you create more and more runoff, and you have a lot more potential for ground contamination or waterway contamination. So that's kind of where it stands. I think everybody's still a little bit tired.
I'm sure.
I want to thank, Captain Sopko was there till 7 o'clock the following night, so he's thanking everybody else. I want to thank him. He did a great job.
Yeah. I'd like to thank everyone that was there.
Oh, and along that lines, I want to recognize two people. Hearn Heating and Plumbing. And we're going to send a thank you letter because Hearn Heating and Plumbing had some Domino's Pizza delivered to the fire scene, which I thought was kind of nice. I'm sure Captain Sopko appreciated that. And then CBiz, which is our healthcare broker,
Right.
that's not even from around here, apparently saw one of the interviews on whatever day morning that was. I don't even know, Tuesday morning?
Yeah.
And they called Mary's Diner and had 25 meals delivered.
Wow, that's nice.
So that was kind of
Very
nice.
good.
Very good. Yep.
And I'd be happy to answer any questions about that. Other than that, I'm tired and I'm done.
Did the-
Okay,
it
go
looked
ahead.
like- It looked like the creek was on fire as it was leaving the property, is that,
So there's a drainage ditch in the back
yeah, it runs
that is,
north?
that actually dead ends. I mean, it's butted off. So there was at times, and I have some drone footage if anybody would like to look at it after the meeting, I'd be happy to show you. We did have a burning ditch. The EPA did find some exposure downstream, but they went down, nothing got towards Arcola. They went down and backtracked, and I think they did some booming and pumped some stuff off. But yeah, it was interesting. When Captain Sopko got there, the parking lot was on fire, and the drainage ditch was on fire, as well as the building and everything else. But yeah, that ditch that goes through the back, actually, the earth basically ends it. So it wasn't running anywhere, it was just burning off in the back. It was interesting.
So was this just the new structure that was built?
There was an
Years ago?
existing pole building there, and basically it was like a pole building, and they had doubled the size of that. Cap, do you remember how long ago, what, 2 years did they
Yeah,
add
it's
on?
just a couple of years ago.
So the new addition is in the back of the plant that was constructed 2 years ago. The pole building that holds all of their, buckets, pails, that's the building that burnt. That was, constructed 12 years ago and had an addition put on it, 6 years ago. But the newest building, the newest addition is the one in the back of the main building.
That's a complicated little.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other?
And the hydrant worked in front of it. That was a hydrant that we had some concerns about before that was repaired, and I'm very thankful of that.
Good. Glad you guys went out and start black bagging them.
Yep.
So, thank you, Chief. Anyone else on the board want to address the chief's comments?
I have one additional thing that,
Sure.
if I could. I just, and it, literally, that's who I was just talking to on the phone before I walked in here. We're approaching the winter time, and we're trying to address some of the problems that we've had here in the past. One of the big issues that we've been having, and I'm trying to avoid having again, is the gutter system on this building is failing miserably. The bays are the worst. Last year, we chipped 4 to 6 inches of ice out right in front of the doors. The man door, we couldn't even open because of ice. I just got some pricing. It was hard to find somebody that does commercial gutters because these are 6-inch gutters. I just had a gentleman out here today. We've been trying to get somebody for a month. Got a quote of about just under $11,000 to put new gutters on the entire building. It's about $5,400 to do just the bays. I didn't even talk to Ms. Dame about this, about a resolution, because it just literally happened, but I would like to move forward. We have some station maintenance money that's still available. I think before the snow flies here, it would be a good idea to try to, that ice is gonna break somebody's back. That's my big concern. So I'd like to move forward and put new gutters up, specifically since we've just kind of fixed a lot of the issues at 2, and now it's time to catch up on some of the issues here. I didn't know if anybody would have an objection to that.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What's causing the existing gutters to fail, Todd?
There's holes in it, and I'm not sure how they got holes in it. It leaks between where they butted gutters together.
Yeah, the seams,
Triple leak, no.
the seams, yeah.
No, they've been leaking for years, and they've gotten worse and worse, and I will tell you that we would not be a good spokesperson for Flex Seal. We've gone up and tried to do any kind of patchwork that we can do.
Just spray.
And we've sprayed it, we've poured it in there, and they're just failing. There's several holes that still leak. I don't think that they're mounted well. I think sometimes we're getting water in behind the gutters. I can tell you that we specifically, Scott Wells is one individual, have done everything that we can to try to seal it. And they just leak like crazy. This guy, Above and Beyond Gutter, we talked to today, they have a 5-year warranty on their gutters. They're 6-inch commercial. gutters. I think one of the other problems is these aren't seamless, because the company that put these in didn't have the ability to make that length of seamless gutter. So you have leaks at seams, and again, Flex Seal doesn't stop that. You may be able to put that over a screen door in a boat, and take the boat under the water, but it's not enough to stop the leaks from the gutters.
Does that include downspouts and everything
Yes.
too? Okay.
How many people did we talk to? Is this the only person we talked to?
This is the
or-
only person that we can find to put up commercial gutters.
Everybody's busy.
I'm not even gonna start with that. Like, everybody is busy, and I would have thought that this would have been a big enough job that a lot of people would have an interest in it.
Yeah, really.
And I don't know whether I should ask for a motion. Again, if I do just the bays, it's about $5,400. And we need to at least start with the bays.
If you're gonna
I
do
for
'em,
one would say, let's do it all, chief.
that's what I would say.
You know,
That's
We
kinda
got
where
the
I'm-
guy out here, let's just put it
Yeah,
all in the
do it
gutters.
all.
Any other comments from the board before I ask for a resolution?
When can he do this, you say?
When I talked to him today, he said he is 3 weeks-ish out. And the company is called Above and Beyond Gutter. They're a Better Business Bureau, A+ rating, from Painesville. Quite honestly, I know 2 people that do the gutters. I couldn't get any of them to come. This guy, I have no idea who he is. He came. Fully insured. And his quote was for, install new 6-inch seamless commercial Scotch Red gutters to the whole building, install 3x4 commercial Scotch Red downspouts, aluminum premium hidden hangers, clean up and haul away everything, 5-year labor and material warranty, $10,987.
Madam Legal Counsel, what should we do here?
I got it at 544.
Well, certainly, you'd have to have some type of board approval of it, so
Right.
whether you do it with a motion tonight, or whether you wait until our next meeting and want a resolution prepared, it's up to the board what they wanna do.
I'll ask for a motion tonight if I can.
Mr. Chair, can I ask,
Yes.
just from previous experience, it's 10,987. Can,
12,000, not to exceed 12,000?
yeah, I mean, because I don't know,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't want it, right.
I'm cheap, believe me, I will not spend any additional money that I don't have to spend, but I would hate to have a $70 overage and come back.
Hold you off, yeah.
Okay, not to exceed 12,000. Do I hear a motion to put this before a board vote?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so Mr. Donaldson and,
Mr. Wayman.
That was Pete.
Mr., okay, Pete and Max.
We're in the right area.
That's right. Okay, any other discussion on entering into an agreement with Above and Beyond Gutters for commercial 6-inch gutters for the whole station at a price not to exceed $12,000?
That's including downspouts and all, right?
Yep.
As as Mr. Anderson has indicated. Okay, any other questions, comments on this? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Wayman?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Somebody whose back is not gonna get broken will thank you as well.
Okay.
I'd rather pay 12,000 than
Yeah.
a lawsuit, somebody.
You have an accident, yeah.
Okay, we have one final chance for anybody on the internet to ask or make a comment to the board.
Nothing, sir?
Thank you, Chief. Any board comments before before we adjourn? I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Wayman?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes, we are adjourned at 7:30.
That was a good one. That was a good one, Bob.